Hey, Tim, how are you doing?
What's up, Alice? How are you?
I am enjoying weather roulette. Today is
Weather
in
roulette.
my favor.
Nice.
15
Well,
minutes. It will probably just be a roll of dust and pre-tornado and rain, or who the heck knows.
you're out in the Midwest over there. Nah, Connecticut, it's just raining today. Just a rainy day. It's like in New England, it never knows what it wants to do. It's like one day it feels like February 2nd. Yesterday feels like June 2nd, but it's really May. So whatever. That's all good. So we haven't done this in a long time. It's been like probably the last time we chatted live was like January or something. It was a long time ago. Yeah.
We should do it more often. I'm going to grab the link here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying.
What have you been working on this school year then, since January?
Oh my gosh, well, it's like I'm so excited to be back in the classroom. It's so much fun. I missed it. My heart. I mean, I was out of it for 3.5 years, back in it, and it was a shock to the system for the first like few weeks or so. It was like, it was awesome, and then I'll be honest, I really underestimated the difficulty and hardship it was. I really did, and being out there, being outside the classroom 3.5 years, now being back in, it's fun. I mean, I'm teaching at 2 middle schools and 2 high schools. A total.
I can't even imagine.
It's a total of 10 different classes, 4 different preps at 4 different schools in a matter of 2 days. It's crazy, but it's fun. A lot of credit recovery for 7th grade, 8th grade.
To one school every day, and
yeah. Oh, it's crazy. But I mean, honestly, in doing my job, I could not live without Desmos. I could not live without GeoGebra. I cannot teach without Desmos or GeoGebra or graspable math even, which I'm happy we could talk about more. And another one that's taken me forever to get into, and I wish it didn't take so long, was Mathagon. Mathagon is awesome. I'm playing a lot more with that. And I saw you were too.
Mathagon.org, right? Website. I included in my newsletter yesterday.
Yep.
I'm going to share my screen.
Mathagon.org rocks. I love it.
Okay, here we go.
Yep. Go for it.
All right. So I'm at mathagon.org.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me what your favorite parts of it are.
I just love the polypad. Go right to the polypad. It's up the top there.
Right here at the top.
Yep.
Click on polypad.
Yeah. And again, I'm no expert by any means. There's people that use it far more than I do, but I just had students go and start exploring and playing. I mean, talk about geometry teachers, tessellations right here. You can explore tessellations, do a lot of different things, doodle, put some polygons on there. And even the one, I think there's that one that's concave. You see that one that's like kind of a W. Yeah, you drag one of those out there and you could turn it and all sorts of things. But it's really sleek, really elegant in my opinion. And it's awesome, But one thing that I thought was really cool is if you scroll down a little bit, all right, go all the way down on the left side. Yeah, let's go on the left side. Let's go to the let's go get the scale. Where's the scale? The balance or whatever it was.
Tools and utensils, table, measure.
That just came like today, I think.
I could have used that this year.
Absolutely.
Begging you to make me a GeoGebra protractor.
It's there. Yeah, but this one's great.
Because you made it for me. I mean, there's other ones, but the ones that I had, I just needed something more basic, or not even more. No, there's something specific I wanted. You made it for me.
Well, let's look at the where's the scale? Let's go to balance there. Where was it? I forgot what it was under. Tools and utensils. Nope. Go into algebra there. Maybe it's under algebra.
Oh yeah, balance scale is under that.
There it is.
This?
Just drag it in. Or just delete everything. That's fine. But go ahead and
plan. I can just download it. How do I clear the whole thing?
I just refresh the page. Easy way out. Or new polypad. But let's drag a scale out there, right? But talk about equivalence. Now let's go to Now let's actually go to the fractions there. Let's undo 3 times. Watch this. You're just messing around there. But go to the fractions right there. All right. And let's pull out, well, not those. Let's do the circle ones. Yeah, you can do that. Fraction circles, whatever. But you could put on the scale there. But we need to get rid of our hearts and our stars and stuff like that. But you can, in terms of exploring, comparing ratios just by, simple, conceptual, obviously a half is bigger than a third. We could start, saying, well, gosh, how many ninths, for example, would outweigh one half? You know what I mean? So at least there, obviously that weighs more, but students can start exploring conceptually here, just messing around and playing around just by, you see what I'm saying? It's really cool. So, and then you could ask students, well, if I have halves over here, say you put 3 1/2 on one side, how many, how many sixths make 3 halves over here? You know what I mean? So they can start exploring and playing and doing a lot of cool things. I haven't used this as much as I want to, but the possibilities here are absolutely endless.
Yeah, it's fun.
Obviously, you can compare just numbers, 100, and whatnot, but you can do a lot of cool things there. It's pretty cool.
It works.
Yeah.
Number of bars.
Mm-hmm. And the other day, I think I made an open middle question again, just for conceptualization. I can't find it at the moment, but if you follow Mathagon on Twitter, they've been doing some pretty cool things, doing a lot of amazing things. I love following their Twitter feed. So algebra tiles, Kent, Recneck, whatever.
Abacus.
Yep. And the exploding dots, the James Stanton. Exploding dots week in different number bases and everything like that. But this is a very powerful tool. You can create probability simulations very easily here. All right. Again, I have a lot of playing to do with this summer, so I am not the expert here, but I know people who. Isn't that awesome?
How to
a lot better at it than
I randomize.
Yep.
Ooh, look at that.
There you go. And so I know Mathagon makes a way where you can assign to Google Classroom and or you can have classes right on here where students join. So, but the possibilities here are endless. So I encourage teachers, if you have time this summer, I mean, we're all busy. We're all burnt out. It's the end of the year. We're done, but that rainy day or two in the summer, play with Mathagon. It's an amazing cool tool. Absolutely, Jacqueline. I agree 100%. Mathagon rocks. So, yeah.
Let's see. I was sharing my tab. All right.
Not sure.
It's fun.
Yeah, but I definitely that's one thing on my to-do list this summer is to play a lot more. I want to create more. I want to create a lot more in here because this is a rich, creative platform, creative environment, if you will. Mm-hmm. That's called the Polypad there, and they have some pre-made activities too, and they also have ways I found out for teachers to create their own lessons in Mathagon as well too. So that's on my to-do list there. But what really has been, what I'd really love to show you, what I've been using a lot of in my credit recovery for Algebra 1 especially, is graspable math. So we can go there if you want, or I can screen share. Yeah.
I use this with my students as well.
Yep. But that's the actual canvas itself. But have you ever gone to activities at graspablemmath.com?
Where do I find the activities?
Right here.
Right where? Classroom materials?
Activities.graspablemmath.com. I'm typing it in now. That's it right there.
It's activities.graspablemmath.com. Okay.
Yeah. So you log in. You could log in with your login as a teacher. Okay. So you're a teacher there. Okay. Now you can go to Activity Bank. All right. And now let's actually, you have to sign in first.
Sure.
All right. Now, what Graspable Math has done, GeoGebra and Desmos and Graspable Math all have the ability where teachers can actually watch student work live and in real time, right? But the cool thing here with Graspable is that you can actually zoom into any student's work up close and see live changes up close. Versus GeoGebra and Desmos, when you look at one student's work up close, you get a preview only, right? Which is still awesome. But with Graspable Math, you can actually see it live, as well. And yes, just like, granted, you could take an image, probably do that in a Google form. You know what I mean? But let's actually go to, let's actually make our own activity here for a second. So let's go to something else here. Or you want me to screen share here?
Sure.
All right, let me go here. Give me 1 second. I do here. All right, let me screen share. I was talking there. 1 second. Share screen. All right, here we go. So in Graspable Math right here, right? So obviously teacher logged in. So now I go to Activity Bank here. All right, so sign in again. Sign in. All right. So let's actually go to, I'm going to go to create an activity right here. Okay, in the upper left corner. I like to create my own. So when I create an activity, I'll call it sample activity 2. You can even have it, people join it. So this is what I'm going to do is create an activity. And after that, I create a session for people to join. See up here where it says make session? That's a session you can invite your students to come join. Do that. We could put an after. But let's see here. So I'm going to actually add a task. There's several different types of tasks here. All right. There's something we call goal state, line it up, canvas, multimedia, multiple choice, and hotspot. Obviously, multiple choice is kind of like I could do that in Google Forms, right? So great, the correct answer, whatever. But I like to put a canvas here. Canvas is pretty cool. So add a task. And this is the typical Graspable Math canvas that you would normally go when you go to graspableMath.com, right? Now, the cool part is here, Alice, you can actually import a if you made something previously, you can import it right here from wherever. All you got to do is put the link to a GM canvas that you've made before, and it'll put it right in there. But what I like to have, what I like to do here is actually just simply, I have students just sketch me a picture of how you're feeling today. Checking in. And I like to tell them to use the draw tool. Okay. Now I'm intentional here, and I'll tell you why. So there it is. And hit done. So that's it. But what I have to do here is edit it. And the reason why I do this is because I need to go to the settings here. This is a little hack that a lot of people don't know about, but because of the future tasks I'm going to do here. But under settings, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find where it says scrubbing numbers. And I don't know if you can see that there. I'm going to make the scrub place, the decimal place 0. Because when kids change coefficients in different things, I want it to be to the nearest whole number. Yeah. So I save the changes and I hit done down here. Now by doing that, that makes every other task that I'm going to put in here format appropriately. It's kind of let's do another called line it up. Okay, so line it up is simply really what it is. So I add the task, and I want to make a goal graph here. So I want students to graph the equation, say y equals 3/4 x plus 2, and I hit done. Okay, so so for the instructions here, I like to tell students, I like to tell them to say, hey, scrub, actually called scrub the coefficients you see to get your graph match the one shown.
Cool. That's really cool.
Now, to me, scrubbing beats a slider. All right, so right there. So I'll simply hit. I'll add that option there.
And my students like use the sliders for the Desmos graphs today, and I'm like, you can't. Yep. What I asked them to do is they had to pick a cartoon character. And like, you're not going to be able to add the equation and do the sliders for all the equations you're going to need for this. So
right,
have at it, do it once, but then you're going to have to basically scrub them.
Right. So this is what it looks like here. If I click on my mouse and actually go up and down, see what I mean? I actually can. I'm clicking on my mouse. I can scrub it right here. And so now, obviously, the y-intercept has to be 2, right? So I leave it there, and now it's a matter of, gosh, what's the slope of that line? You see what I'm saying? So kids, no, I have kids move that out of the way, you know. So you think if there's a point here, but where else is there a nice point that's right here, right? So a rise of 3, a run of 4, right? So the students go back and make this 2. Now I'm in preview mode, but if I make this go down, make that a 3, I could scrub that, make it a 4. Whoop, I just had it. There, it'll turn green. Now I'm in preview mode right now. Okay, so let me exit the preview. But now see, I can go ahead and copy this right here, and I can make another version, edit it.
Okay, look at that.
And yeah, so I mean, I could just start. Let me make another one here. Let's say, I don't know, negative 2/5 x, plus. And all they need is a few, say minus 2, something like that. And I could actually have starting values like 9/5 x plus 4, something like that. So I could tell the line where to start and where I want it to be. I hit done. Now, if I go to preview right here, I can actually take it and see what it looks like in number 3 in preview mode. Okay, and so now I do it, click it, and you see here now this is what the students will be doing. You see what I mean? So obviously, oh wow, that slope's got to be negative, right? And so I think I got it right there. There we go, like that. I did that with some of my algebra and credit risk recovery students today, and some of them were done. Was just a quick review for like 5 minutes. Some of them were done in 3. Some of them needed to take 10 or 11, but it was a great source for just meaningful remediation and just working with it this way. But the part I love about it is that students are actively engaged, they're involved. It's not the teacher, blah, 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 flapping his or her gums. It's the student who's at work, and they're the center of attention,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, another type of task here, I won't show them all today, but is goal state. Okay, so goal state, what you do is and add a task. With goal state, you have to simply put something here. Let's say 2x minus 3 minus 5x, something like that. And the goal state is going to be what? Obviously I have to tell it what it needs to be. So it's going to be negative 3x, right? Minus 6, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, negative 3x, sorry. Like that. So that's the goal state right there. And I'm going to hide the goal state on the students, and I'm going to allow for commuted answers, because if a student has negative 6 minus 3x, you still want to turn green, right? And so I'll just tell the students here, hey, simplify.
Okay.
Following expression. And then, whoop.
Can you do this again with a elementary example?
Oh, sure, like order of ops. Yeah. So let's add a goal state here. And let's say 3 plus 4 minus 2 times 3. Something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so now what's the goal state here? 7 minus 6 is 1.
Start using the dot. My 5th grader is always very confused when I put the dot for multiply.
Mm-hmm. You could change it to parentheses, I think, too. But I just simply, hey, evaluate. Because if you try to do something that violates the order of operations, it'll shake its head. It doesn't like you,
right.
So, oh, it's awesome. So, and the best way I could describe Graspable Math is that it is an app that helps students develop procedural fluency through a very conceptual lens. It's just like, sure, they could use photo math, take a picture of it, it solves the equation. Teachers, they're pulling their hair out over that. But it's like, you know what? It's almost like, well, gosh, we talked about changing the questions we asked, but here, students actually have to know what to do in order to do it, which is really cool. So if I hit done, all right, so there's two different types of tasks right there. Now I can make a session, and I'll make it a public session. I'll create it.
What's assessment mode?
Say it again.
What's assessment mode?
It's like test mode. I think it hides. I'm not sure. I think it hides the fact that they get it right or wrong. But well, let me just copy the link there and have people join if they want. Whoops.
Cool.
Stop sharing. Yeah. So come join. We'll see how it is there, And by the way, you can link it. You can actually link it to Google Classroom as well too, right here, and I'll show you. That's very easy. That's done in a minute or less. I took all my 10 Google Classroom classes and I just basically synced them to it. It's done. So, yeah, it's really, really cool. So let me share my screen. Let's see. I know it's they're waiting for students to join.
Okay.
No one's in yet, and that's okay. Hey, it's after school. School's still in session in certain parts of the U.S., but at least we have something that through which we can work here and see. Someone's in. We could see. They could sketch on the canvas. I can actually show student work. So if I can actually write on the student screen, the student won't see it, but anything that the student does. I mean, Alice, you're in too. But watch this. Anything you do right here, go ahead and draw on the screen. See, this is what I'm saying. You can look at it up close, and you can see updates up close. It might take 5 seconds to update, but it does, which is pretty cool. You know. Hello to you too. So now, if we move on to task 2, all right, we can go to task 2 there. And I notice I can actually look right here. 1, 2, 3. I can look at one task at a time, or I have a student overview page right here. For student overview, I can actually see where students are, what task they're on. Okay. Show aggregate information. You know, data. So for line it up, right? I'm showing the summary of the work here for students, but I can click on you, the student, right there. I can see Alice's work here. And so why don't you go hop to line it up there, Alice, and see if you can line that graph up there. Now it's going to
give the answer a couple minutes ago.
Say what? Yeah, right. But obviously, no, again, the changes you see, you'll see changes every couple of seconds. Wow, that's 85 there. But you'll see, oh, by the way, a little hack, if you click on a number, you could change it just by typing it in.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. Oh, but this is pretty cool. We could do this with quadratics. We could do this with other types of functions as well. But here for linear, very basic, but you could totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty neat. So every day, for many days, my Math 8 and my Algebra 1 students, I'll just take the first 5 minutes, maybe the first 4 minutes, give them 2 or 3 of these. Here's your warm up. Boom, let's go. And again, so it's that constant, remember what I have to, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. We have more people. We have more people in here now, and so people are just going up. And once the student graphs the line correctly, you'll see in the overview page, you'll see a green.
Okay. Oh, there's a little there. Super.
Yep. So if you do one of those correctly, you'll see it turn green. Just when you see your thing turn green, it'll turn green as well. So it's pretty neat. But I've been using a lot of this, a lot of Desmos, a lot of GeoGebra. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been doing more of the Desmos. I have a Desmos workshop that I'm running right now. It's just an intro to what is Desmos if you haven't heard of it before. And then I'm working on getting better at doing computation layer. Mm-hmm. So maybe I can ask you a question. What I'm trying to do is
I can answer it.
I can do it of hidden colon.
Mm-hmm.
But I want it to be after they submit, not if they haven't submitted.
I would actually probably use hidden is defined. Like right here. I think this might be the answer to your question. I might be wrong, but if you want to hide something, and that's a very advanced kind of a question, but. Yeah, and you were the one that was telling me to slow it down months ago. Give me a break. Here you are, press on the gas. Let me just see something here. I think I see what you're saying. So right here, I'll show you an example of something I'm working on here.
See.
Let me see. I'm logged in, custom. So I'm going to go to these % modeling templates here. Where is it? Not the copy of. But yeah, we'll just go to the copy of here.
Right.
All right. So I'll edit. All right. So here's what we could do. So if I look at this in preview mode.
Your screen, Tim.
Sorry. Again, I'm still learning computation layer as well too. Mm-hmm. It's my project. But the way this activity works is like I'm trying to work on randomizing random numbers here. Mm-hmm. So what's 27% of 20? And then if I exit out of it and hit preview again, it's asking me a different question, 65% of 57. So I want every student to have a different question, but I want them to answer this type of question.
Right.
So obviously I want students to enter something here. So basically they would have to enter the percentage, 65. And the whole amount here is 57. I want to see if they could set it up. But you notice here that this part disappeared. See the amount of this part that you could make stuff disappear when something's filled in. Like this is 57. See how it disappeared? Okay. I don't know if that answers your question, but the way that I did that here, right here, I have several notes in it. Like I have a note right here. I have a note followed by an input box, another note followed by another input box.
Yeah.
Another. Now they all show up at the same time, but then when two of the boxes are filled, one of them disappears. So the way that I program this is right here, I think, in computation layer. Nope, hang on. It's for N1. If I go to that edit computation layer script right there, what I did is I said this right here, like right here. It's hidden when the I2 and I3 are defined, if that makes sense. So that's what can make stuff vanish or reappear if you want it to. But in terms of a button, what you'd have to do is go to the computation layer documentation here, that link right there. And they totally reorganized this page and made it a million times better. But any Desmos. Oh, yeah, this is like, I'm on this page at least once a day. But anything that I want to see here,
I hear that.
I look here.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Say, click on my activity. Let me put it in the private chat because, of course, it's not accessible from the other chat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I've been playing with. See what I was able to do. If you go to the private chat on the side, you can get that.
Okay. I thought you were going to screen share, but let me see here.
Take a look at what I got.
All right. No, let me share again. Oh, my fan's going here on my computer. All right. This it right here?
Yep.
So let me go in here. Let me go in here and copy and edit it. Anytime I want to dissect something, I copy and edit it. Always.
Always.
So let's see. Let's preview this thing. What is your name? Okay.
I went the hard way to copy screens. I was thinking I had to copy and edit to get my own editable copy, but
right here
from the preview.
Yep. There we go. So what are we trying to do here? Draw 6 two ways. Which one?
Yeah. Yes. Draw 6 two ways. Yes. And then you don't have to do that. All of it did. Didn't it ask you to put your name on the first one?
It did, but I skipped it.
Okay, you can't skip it.
Oh, sorry. All right.
Okay. So, yeah. I wanted to say after you put that in, hey, Tim, but I don't want it to show up until you've typed it.
Oh. There's a way to do that. It's got to be, so obviously you want to write a note, right, to the student.
Yeah.
Once they type it in. So what I would do, again, I don't know the answer to your question off the top of my head, but what I would do.
So you can see how I did use it. So what I got, just go through all of them and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Where are we? All right. So go here.
On the next frame, draw number 6 two ways. You can skip that one. I don't have anything in there.
Okay.
Okay. And so now I put in 2 numbers that add up to 6.
Okay.
2 different numbers that add up to 6. Submit.
All right. So now what?
Or the next one.
Okay.
So there it goes. It says, hello, Tim.
Okay. See, 2 and 4, as I saw with decimals. Well, and I could say, gee, 2 and 4 are decimals, 2.0 and 4.0. No,
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. For the next one. You see, I'm working on how to get it to show when it's not submitted. No, when it is submitted.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So
I need a note to confirm. And I've done it, and then I forgot what I did.
I'm still learning too. I'm not quite sure. I know there's probably people watching who'll answer it right now.
But they go to the next screen, which should, in theory, be easy.
2 and 4 add to 6. Yep. So they add to 6. There you go. Okay. So now, keep
some directions. So put something. Put a parenthesis.
What do you want me to type in here?
Point. The add. Yeah.
Those 3.
Disease. So it should say enter an ordered pair, and I don't have that.
Okay. Well, it's not type. It's looking for something. It's looking for something here. If I look at the exclamation mark here, cannot evaluate the expression. It's looking for an expression here. 3x or
I don't know what I did.
Okay.
All right, forget it.
Well, it's okay. But see, but the thing is,
yeah, I'm trying to show you. All right, go to the next one.
but
what I was able to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
See, he says put the X and Y. Now do the X and Y.
All right. So 1, 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then okay, look, I did it right there.
Yep, you got it.
I've got it where it shows up afterwards. So okay, so I just gotta go look at my own.
So now we could put another input, but we could put another math in. We could put another input right here. You know what I mean?
Well, you could put the input, go back up to the 1, 5 and put in something different.
All right, let's say 5, 0, 5, 1.
Put something that doesn't work. I mean, it'll still work. It'll still plot.
Let's see, -2, 1. Okay, so obviously, well, there we go. Gosh, those don't add up to 6, right? But you know, the question is, you could put a note there. There obviously is a way to program it that if you know, I mean, those don't. If you know that doesn't add up to 6. Now, see, in GeoGebra, I know how to do it. Like I could do it like that, but in Desmos, I would totally have to look up. But one thing that I would actually, obviously, there is a Boolean. There is a sync called correct : Yeah, and that correct makes I was actually asking this in the group last night, the Desmos group, but the correct sync is what causes that check to show up on the teacher dashboard.
Yeah. So if you have someone was asking me this yesterday. If you have a multiple choice question and you've indicated the multiple choice answer is correct and they mark it correct, it shows up as correct with a checkbox on the grid, right?
Yes.
You ask them to explain their answer. Is there any way to get that to do a checkbox from the multiple choice portion?
Well, if you define, well, the thing is, it's like that. The way that Desmos, I think, again, I'm not an expert there, but I believe the way that Desmos does it, it does it through numeric. I mean, once you start actually putting words into a text box, you know, that's a whole different ball game. The way that Desmos works is just like, you know, you could do it as a single Boolean, or if several of them are true, you know what I mean?
Got the multiple choice portion, and then they're just supposed to explain their answer. There's no way as a teacher that I can go through on Desmos, right, and get that dot check mark to show for me manually. Pretty sure, right?
I honestly don't know. I just know that the way that I use it is if a student actually, I make a point to look at every student's response. You know, obviously through the teacher dashboard, I could totally see who is, you know, I could totally see who's answered it correctly or answered it not. You know what I mean? But obviously, you know, they could look at the person next. I don't know. I'm like, not that I'm out to get them, but like I said, this is something I'm still working on right now.
The student, I'm talking on the teacher dashboard.
Yeah.
Look at their response. I don't have a way to toggle it from a dot to a check. I'm just confirming. Is that right?
No, well, there are screens. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. There are screens that have an input and an explain yourself. And if the input's correct, if the math input is correct, the check will appear, whether the student explains or not.
Okay, so that's what I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
But no, that was the first thing I said. But the second was when after I read their explanation, so they got the multiple choice correct. It puts it as a dot. There's an explain. I read the explain. I'm like, hey, that's good. I don't have any way of saying, yes, change that to a check.
Well, no, I mean, because the check on the dashboard is defined only in terms of the math input or inputs, not in terms of if they've written something down. I mean, I could be wrong. Person to ask that is Jay Chow on Twitter. He is the computation layer guru. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's in Desmos, just like in GeoGebra, in Desmos, there's 8 million ways to do 8 million things. You know, and you got to find a way that works best for you. You know, I'm still on the CL learning train too. I mean, CL, it's like to me, it's a hobby. When I have tons of grading to do, it's like I postpone it, like play with CL. You know, it's just I'm not the only teacher that does that.
Procrastinating. That is definitely true. I got caught up on some grading yesterday.
Yep.
I had a classic student says to me. She looks up in Power School. She's like, I have a 0 for the Unit 7 project. I'm like, did you do the Unit 7 project? She's like, no, I worked on my history.
But yeah, no, I'm still playing with Desmos. I mean, like I'm fortunate. The Desmos middle school curriculum, my supervisor has actually gotten us the 30-day trial. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. It is great. It is amazing. You know, because they get the students to think. Mm-hmm. It's really awesome. You know,
I wish they had it for geometry because that's what I'm teaching next year. We're going to use in the illustrative math next year.
Mm-hmm.
for geometry, and some things about it I like, and there's some things about it I wish were better. It's a little more authentic. Like, why can't we're using digital things? Why can't I stick a picture in there? Like, shouldn't I be able to, like, where does this come from? You know, one of the things that you like to show me is, you know, where should you put a Lowe's? Is that what your example is? And so
yeah, well, it's like go to Map Customize or go to Home Depot and Lowe's and like locate all the stores in your area, and let's analyze. You know, I mean, Home Depots came first. They're old, and Lowe's came after. So the Lowe's were built reactively. Home Depots were built proactively, right? Home Depot. I mean, Lowe's wants to make a dent in Home Depot's business, right? Mm-hmm. So when you analyze where they put, back in the 90s, it's like I knew how the Home Depot was. It's like, here's all the commercial real estate. Where would you put a Lowe's if you only had to put N-1 of them around in the area? Have students figure out where to put them.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. A lot of them right on a perpendicular bisector between the two.
The illustrative math curriculum initially is I want to have something like that where it's got a real map behind it or a real picture, and a lot of it's just a dry, straight up triangle. Like, where did that triangle come from?
Sure. No, I mean, but you go to Google Earth, you could put markings on it, take a screenshot, throw it in. You could throw it in GeoGebra for sure. You could drag images in Desmos graphing calculator too. You have to define the center in terms of coordinates. Say you could do that. I think it's easier at the moment to do it in GeoGebra, but again, every app has its strength. Which I think it's cool. It's easy to get overwhelmed as a teacher. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many apps. I feel like I'm so far behind. I'm still learning. I don't know everything, but it's like, I just start playing around with it. And the cool part is in my job, it's like I could play along with my students. Now, I'm not going to do that on a day that I'm getting formally observed, but at the same time where it's like, I was playing with Mathagon, have the students just tell me 3 new things you learned about Mathagon today. And they come up with something, and it's awesome. Something I didn't even know.
I like to introduce it to. Tell me something you figured out about it. I don't want to start off with me showing it to you.
Especially in a day when, like, summative assessments for a lot are getting thrown out the window. We're finding alternate ways to assess, and we have to because of the nature of the beast right now. So it's a perfect year to do that. Perfect year. It's not about students just getting all the work done and doing all the assignments so I can put checks on all my grade book and be done. No, that's not what it's about. And so, and some teachers have a hard time accepting that. They do, and it's understandable. But we're learning, we're all learning, growing together. And I think this pandemic has helped a lot of people realize that there's certain things that can be done. I don't want to say better digitally, but there are certain things that could be done more effectively digitally. Some things
can be done digitally. Some things can be better done on papers. I saw someone tweet out earlier, their lessons from this year that they're taking forward, that next year Desmos will be their number one go-to, that some activities are better on paper and some things I can transform and do better digitally. I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. There's no reason to be in one camp or the other.
Sure.
But I mean, there's things you just can't do with it without a digital tool. So for example, I introduced circles, ellipses, hyperbolas, the equations of those. It's x minus h squared over a squared, plus for an ellipse, minus for a hyperbola, y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. And it's minus h and minus k, and how it's opposite, right? And a lot of times you're going to see on an ACT type question is, where's the center, where's the foci, where's the vertex if it's a parabola, these kinds of things. And they're literally trying to trick you with that one piece of information on a multiple choice, whether it's positive 6 or negative 6.
Well, that's what I think. They're all the the SAT is not, those tests are as inauthentic as they come.
They're as inauthentic as they come. But then I had the students, they pick their cartoon character and they're like looking at the different shapes in the picture that they have to get the Mickey Mouse's elbow. I was like, well, that looks like a hyperbola. Where I have the X term first.
Well, synthesis, you're creating.
Well, what numbers I have to put in here? It needs to move a little bit this way, so I have to actually put in a positive value because it goes the opposite direction. Whereas if you use y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, it's the h that's minus, but the k is plus.
But with the digital, but on paper,
better than just doing a bunch of practice problems.
Right. having kids build.
Great
And that's the cool.
conversations today.
Well, like the Desmos art projects they have, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
you know, I love seeing what students come up with every year. And it's like to give opportunities kids to create. Open middle, kids can create and logically reason along the way. With Desmos art project, oh my gosh, that's a rich thing. I mean, there are teachers out in the US that use that as their final exam. That alone, you know, using all the different types of functions, you see it. And yes, it's like every student, it'll take a few minutes to grade every student with your rubric, whatever that looks like. But you know what? When the student can create, you know, that's a beautiful thing. Totally. Yeah. And so
we're doing today. I was surprised.
What's that?
I said all my students were doing it. Like they were into it. They were trying to get the equations on there.
That's awesome.
When I let them know they had to do the entire picture, they're like, what? I'm like, trust me, it's going to feel good once you get it all on there. But it's, you know, once you do this several times that you really work through finding these patterns of how these work, you're going to get so much more out of this.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And it's just, you know, to try and do that without Desmos is ridiculous. I feel like when we're doing graphs and things by hand, it's just losing the force for this trees, this plotting points nonsense, not the spell. It's the interpretation, what it means, how to put it places, doing it enough times that you can see what the pattern is. That to me is really the beauty of using a tool like Desmos.
Totally. And even though I was in one camp for several years, you know, I wish I could go back and I would use a lot more equally. Honestly, it's coming from the heart. Like I said, I have nothing against GeoGebra. I love GeoGebra. I'll always use it, you know, but I love Desmos just as much.
You know, collaborative tools where you're saying I use Google tools. Nothing beats Google for collaboration. But you know, it's not the only things that I use. I use Desmos. I use GeoGebra. I use Minecraft.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it was good talking. I know I have to get going, but it was great chatting.
Do this again another time.
Have a great one.
Catch up. Bye.